The views and opinions expressed on any program are those of the producers and/or the persons appearing on the program and do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of FRC Media, Bristol Community College, or the City of Fall River.
Well, hello. Welcome to Spindle City Straight Talk. I'm Chip.
And I'm CJ.
And it is Wednesday in the Riv, the day after the election, and the unofficial results are in front of us. So now there's no more speculation and everything. We all know where everybody is. So post-election show.
Yep.
So we all know that Paul Coogan was reelected, and the council fundamentally
Is the same.
We got Joe Camara, as we kind of anticipated.
Right.
He got in, because he does have a base, and the newbie on the council is Andrew J. Raposo, which was kind of surprising to me. To a degree, although I did hear some positive feedback about him during the debates, and then I was told that he's the principal of the Espírito Santo School, which gives him a major connection in the Portuguese community.
Exactly.
So I think that was one of the things, and that's a community that apparently Cliff Ponte did not.
No, and the results on the mayoral race almost mirror the preliminary.
Yeah.
They almost mirror the preliminary. And I think one of the problems is, and I'm hearing this in other media outlets, the radio, some on television. The problem is that Cliff came out too late. He didn't come out of the gate running. He didn't come out of the gate and slamming the issues right away and making it people known.
Yeah.
The other thing was, he didn't focus a lot in the South End. Mm-hmm. And if he had focused more in the South End, I think he would have brought up his vote count. Do I think he would have beat this? No.
No.
I don't think he would have overcome this shortfall. But is it possible? Yes, but you have to be sticking on the narrative. You got to make sure you get your message out there, and you got to be reaching out to the areas that you need the most.
Yeah. Well, first, let me say for the record, first of all, I hope Paul's wife is doing well. That's number one, because that's got nothing to do with politics, and so I hope she's doing well. I wish her well. And you got to give them credit for the campaign they ran.
It was a quiet campaign.
The fact is, they buried him. They pulled a Joe Biden.
Yeah.
He didn't talk about anything. He never ever. He just said that everything that Cliff said was wrong about the budget, even though Mary Zahadi confirmed it, and he was allowed to lay low by the campaign.
Right.
The reality is, people talk a lot about this, but the reality is, and you know that, CJ, because you've gone to the training seminars and things, and we've been in the business for a long time. It's the sole goal of a campaign to get the voters out.
Right.
And we had a dismal turnout again. A dismal turnout. So if they're going to say there's a mandate, they're wrong, because most of the people sat on their butts again. And, you can blame them to a degree, but you blame the campaign. When we had to get people out to overcome a mayor that had been elected by 70%, more than Paul has been elected here, we had to get the people out, and we got them out. So that's what you got to do. And you said, Cliff came out way too late. The campaign was way too vanilla. He didn't play hardball. He allowed them to hide him.
Correct.
He allowed him to stay undercover for the entire election. And I think that down the road, and listen, I said it before the election, and I'll reiterate, People are already talking about the recall. I got a few people.
I was sent a video
Yeah.
from our recall
Yeah.
from 7 years ago, and they said, "Are you going to take care of this one?" And I was like, "I don't think I'm going to put any unless they come to me with the team in place, the financing in place, the team in place, everything moving forward. Then I'll help." But you know, the one we did was a once in a lifetime thing.
Yeah, and we said when we did it that it has to be an extraordinary circumstance, and it was. The city was in a total state of disarray. And I said before the election, and I'm going to reiterate it today, that, you know, starting in January, this is a new term. And I'm not going to say that he's going to be recalled or he has to be recalled, because he has an opportunity now to do the right thing with the budget. He has the right thing to be upfront with the people of Fall River, not kill everybody with taxes. But the reality is, if he does, if that deficit is not handled with the taxpayer in mind, they will be out with torches and pitchforks. And I can tell you what, the people that sat on their butts, and you know, look, I blame the campaign a lot, Cliff's campaign, for not getting the voters out. That's their job. But you got to put something on the voters too, because I don't care. You should be voting in an election, and especially an election that is this critical because of what we're looking at. We're looking at a bigger deficit now than Flanagan had when we recalled him.
And here's the interesting thing. If you remember during the Flanagan recall, we had everyone wearing purple bags. They were wearing them as costumes. They would pay the money for the bags and wear them as costumes. Paul's campaign, well, I shouldn't say his campaign, but his administration talked about going back to the bags.
Yes.
Talked about going to, and the voters still voted for him, which I find interesting because once they get hit with those fees and those taxes,
Oh, they're going to go nuts.
they're going to go bananas,
No,
especially when they get hit with that debt exclusion.
And he, more than anyone else, should realize that. All he has to do is look at what happened to his brother. When his brother took a job that he shouldn't have got, and the entire
Coogan-gate.
fire department walked out of the building, and they turned on him like a pack of rabid dogs.
Yep.
Because he had attacked their pocketbooks and their promotional opportunities, justifiably so, I may add, because I wrote a scathing editorial on that. But he should realize that, look, he's on notice. He talked about these things, and people don't pay attention until it hits them in the pocketbook. But I can guarantee you, if you don't step up for the taxpayers in this term, they will come after you, because once they start getting tax bills, once this debt override, if it's put in, is put in, they will come after you. And maybe you don't care. You only want one more term. You're a lame duck already. But it's up to you. I hope you do the right thing. I really do. I hope you do the right thing. I hope you try to work to give the taxpayers as much latitude as you can and not cripple them, especially with this inflation. Because let's face it, Fall River's always like 10 years behind the times. Skateboard started in California. 10 years later, you saw skateboards in Fall River. We're always late. You know, a dollar short and a day late.
Yeah.
We're always that. But
Day late to the party.
But look what's happening to the country. Youngkin got elected. Obama, Biden, Harris, the other guy, what the hell's it, Kane, the former governor that's now a senator or a congressman, I forgot. He ran for president too. They were all out there. Stacey Abrams. They brought in every political hack on the planet to pull McAuliffe out. But the people are sick and tired of it. They were sick and tired of what was happening in their schools. They were sick and tired of what's happening. People are sick and tired of the inflation, sick and tired of paying double for gas. They're getting killed. And the people of Fall River have the least ability to absorb this kind of stuff, because most of the people in Fall River do not live in the North End.
And they don't make $100,000 a year.
And they don't make $100,000 a year. So, listen, if you don't think it's going to come, if you think or you just are not going to care and just say, I don't care, they can't do anything to me, I'm not going to look for re-election, and I'll tank the city. And I'll remind you of that statement you made, which I think, in my opinion, wasn't really an accurate representation, but you said you love this city. Well, if you love this city, you should love the people that live in it. And most of the people who live in it can't afford these massive increases. You've got to work as hard as you can to try to figure out a way that we can do this and not throw everybody out on the street. Or you can take the PAC money from the super PAC, throw everybody out, and try to gentrify the city. But that's the reality. The reality is, listen, as far as I'm concerned, January's a clean slate. Let's see what happens.
Well,
we have what we have as a debt, and how we handle it will be the key issue, how he handles it. And if we talk purple bags and unit fees, there's going to be a problem down the road.
Yeah, I firmly believe that. But one of the things that I'm going to tell you right now, the landlords are already, or the property owners are already starting, is they're doing some preliminary work on cutting their losses. They're raising the rents already. They're raising the rents effective January 1st. Letters are going out, 10%, 15%, 20% increases in rents, sometimes even higher than that. They're expecting that they're going to be hit hard. And the problem is, those aren't property owners that live in the city. They're property owners that live out of the city. And that's why they're doing it. Yeah. And that creates a problem. When you look at this election and the way these numbers turned out, does it surprise me when I'm looking at this? No.
Well, yeah, you're right. It doesn't surprise us because we know how to interpret data and analyze it. So obviously we look at where they finished in city council races for the most part. You can track it with the Coogan-Ponte race, and you know the same demographics of voting for them, except obviously certain amounts. I think he got a lot of support from school department, school committeemen, and everything else, and you know, but it shows that people just don't pay attention, and it's unfortunate. Again, you can't to me ever emphasize the point that people don't vote on performance and on issues, because when I look at
this is a nice guy.
When you look at the council race and you look at the school committee race, and you say, well, these are friendly. Now I look at this, and you know, I've never been afraid to name names. So, Linda Pereira at the top. Well, Linda Pereira's got a base forever. She's done a lot of constituent services for people, so she's always up near the top. She has a lot of support. Trottley.
That surprised me.
Trottley's attached himself, I think, clandestinely. That's why he got appointed to the
marijuana commission.
The marijuana commission. I think there were political alliances created. Sean Kadim's got a fairly solid base. The thing that surprised me was Brad Kilby. I think his performance, and I've known Brad for a very long time. I think this last term, he was abysmal as a counselor. He was just either not there, or unprepared, or belligerent and antagonistic toward people. I don't think he represented himself well and represented the city council well. I think his behavior left a lot to be desired, especially as an attorney who should be able to debate issues. So I think, and for him to finish that high, I think he's, you know, a North End guy, former school committeeman. He has the same group of supporters fundamentally as Paul Coogan. So I think that dragged him way up. I mean, I didn't expect him not to get elected, but I didn't expect him to be where he is. And then we look at the opposite side of that. We look at Michelle Dion barely getting in.
Right.
Who was one of the most well-prepared, whether you agreed or disagreed, was one of the most well-prepared counselors that was in that chamber over the last 2 years. stood up for what she believed in, and that's the key. The key is, listen, I disagree with a lot of positions over the years that Linda has taken, and I've agreed with some. But the fact is, she goes in there and she does what, as she says, she tells it like it is. Sometimes I'm not, I don't agree with it, but, she's put in the work. She's been there a long time. She's developed a base, and I think she got there on her own. I don't believe that Brad got there on his own. And I think that it really a disservice to, like I said, you see the work Michelle Dion put in. It's incredible that she finished that low. She was extremely well prepared, but it's not recognized. People, again, nice guy. Then you look at the school committee, and I'm nauseous when I see Mimi Larrabee third, a woman who protected a serial abuser.
Right.
The only one. And guess what? I guess she was right. She must say everybody in Fall River's really stupid. They don't pay attention at all. No. I was one of the gang of FOA, and I'm giving them the middle finger. I don't listen to you. Elect me to the school committee again, and I'll protect everybody I want to protect and give you the bird. Finishing third. That's outrageous. It's outrageous, in my opinion. And that's my opinion. You can love Mimi Larrabee, I don't care. Should never get a vote till the next ice age from me for protecting that scumbag, Malone.
The thing about the race is, okay, as you said, Linda came in first, and that wasn't surprising. Trotley to me coming in second was a little surprising.
Yeah, it was a little surprising, yeah.
Sean Kadim's position made perfect sense to me. I thought he would come in second, if not first. And the rest of them, the only one that really surprised me at all was the loss of Chris Peckham.
Yeah, that was, because he...
Because, again, another person who's performing. But here's what Chris did wrong. And this is what they're saying all over social media. He went out and he got Jeff Deal, a staunch Republican, to come down to Fall River, the Democratic stronghold, and have them stand together. And then any candidate on here who was endorsed by the Republican City Committee did not place. They're loser. They're in the loser basket. Chris Peckham, Gabe Boomer Amaral, and Angel J. Pantoja. Those three were endorsed by the Republican City Committee, and they got hit.
You're right, yeah.
And here's the thing. While Cliff did get endorsed by the Democratic City Committee and the Democratic State Committee, I believe, he also was endorsed by the Republican City Committee.
Yeah, and unfortunately...
You cannot.
Well, at least now you can't. I think maybe in the next election or in the not-too-distant future you will, because Fall River, as I said, lags behind the rest of the world. And, yeah, like with skateboards. We're like skateboarding here. The reality is that, look at the country. Look at the rest of the country. Every single defund the police resolution went down. All the councilors who supported defund the police were booted out in Minnesota. A Republican who was given no chance in Virginia won an election.
That's as blue a state as they come.
That's as blue as it gets. And like I said, they trotted out every political hack and heavyweight, or lightweight in my opinion, but to some people heavyweights. Obama was there. Biden was there, which I thought was a big mistake with his poll numbers. They should have kept him as far away from Virginia as possible. But they had Biden and Harris there, both of whom's poll numbers are so low, I wouldn't want them anywhere near a campaign. But you know what happened? The rest of the country is catching up. They're sick and tired of people ramming things down their throat, the mask mandates, the schools teaching critical race theory. There's near riots. Youngkin got elected in Virginia, because he stayed on the issues. He said taxes, people's rights, and Democrats crossed over. Independents crossed over. Like you said, Virginia lately has been as blue as you can be.
Yep.
And that was and I'll tell you what, it's sending shockwaves through the Democratic Party. All those moderate Democrats now, they're all quaking in their boots, because if you can knock out a Democratic governor with that kind of support,
you got a problem.
You got problems, people, because the people in the rest of the country are beginning to pay attention. But it took an issue. It took a purple bag issue. It took a straw that broke the camel's back, and it was the education in Loudoun County in Virginia that started the ball rolling. He was so far out of that race at the beginning, he was almost as far as we were when we started the recall.
Yep.
But he came on, and he stayed on the issues, and he talked about things, and he spoke to the people, and he made it nonpartisan. And like you said, the Republican Party here, and it's ironic because we got like the weakest Republicans in the country here.
Yes.
They're all rhinos. They're not really Republicans.
They're not even Republicans.
They're not even Republicans for the most part. They're all rhinos, and it's a shame. But you know something? Learn from what's happening in this country. Hopefully, give all these people a brand new page. Remember the taxpayer. That's all I'm saying. I don't have to agree with everything you do. But remember the burden we're under now. Remember the fact that inflation. Remember the gas prices. Remember why Joe Biden is in a tank. Remember why they don't even, if he lives that long, they don't want him. Like 70% of the Democratic Party doesn't even want him to look for a nomination for a second term because he's such a failure. And this is what's going to happen. You know, you didn't do anything your first term and you used COVID. The world is back out, Paul. Do the right thing. I hope you do, because you know something? I'd like to sit here someday and say, you know something? They did the best they could to handle this deficit, and let's not create a greater deficit by expanding government and killing the taxpayer. But you know,
he's already started that with hiring of 29 people.
Yeah, he has, and let's see what happens. But let's look at this. Let's look at this, CJ. Right?
One of the things that is interesting is that once again, the history is repeating itself here in Fall River. Mm-hmm. Nobody that's ever topped the ballot in the city council race has won an election for mayor. Yeah. No one.
Yeah.
And here's the thing. Even if Linda, and just look at Linda's numbers, 5,704. That's about her base. Yep. That's about her numbers all the time. If she had run against Paul, she still wouldn't have won because Paul had 7,533.
Yeah.
Because remember, down here it's 1 out of 9.
Yeah.
Up here it's 1 out of 2.
And you know, I think that that's one of the major contributors to why these people don't win, because they don't have, you know, they can't analyze the fact that when you vote, when you get elected and you're at the top of the ticket, you know, that's 1 of 9 votes. Maybe 15, 20%, maybe 25% of that vote was the first pick. Everything else was 2 through 9. Mm-hmm. So when you're running head to head, the person only gets 1 vote. Right. And those other 75% of the people or something are not going to vote for you in a head to head. And this is why I think when they run their campaigns, they just can't grasp that you're asking people to choose you as the person to do that job, the only person to. You don't have 8 other people to help you. So this is where you get the friends and stuff. But let's look at it. The other thing that was surprising to me was that somebody that Linda pushed really hard, and so did everybody else, WSAR.
Laura
Washington did not get
came
a
in
seat.
11th.
And I think what hurt her a lot was her saying, well, if I don't know what I'm going to do, I'm going to ask Linda.
Yep.
I mean, I think that hurt a lot during the debate. Maybe somebody did pay attention to the debate. Surprised me that this, of course, nobody knows him, but, you know, maybe it's just me. Maybe it's the veteran in me. I really, it pains me to see a combat veteran in last place.
Yeah.
You know, but I think he was endorsed by the Republican Party.
Yes, he
too.
was.
So that means he's a conservative. And but hey, let's see what happens. We've got 2 years. School committee, Kevin Aguirre, Paul Hart, Shelley Pereira. Of course, I'm sure she really
She got elected on her mother's coattails.
she benefited from her mother being
Right.
very very well-known political,
Exactly.
and having a very solid base. And she actually got 1,000 votes less than her mother. So,
Exactly.
but she still got enough to get in. And Bobby Bailey got in.
I don't know a lot about him.
Neither do I.
I mean, the only thing that I do know about him is he's Afro-American.
Yes.
And maybe now we are going to start seeing more diversity in our electorate and our elected officials. I mean, just look at Boston. They've elected
Yeah.
the first woman and first Asian woman.
Asian woman. That's
So,
right.
I mean, it's obvious that the tides are changing, not only here in Fall River, but across the country, and more especially in Massachusetts. So we have to look at the fact that not everything is as clear and cut.
Yeah, and
as
this
it is.
election really, to me, is not really a bellwether of anything because of the pathetic turnout. As
Yeah.
we continue to say, but you got to blame campaigns for not getting people fired up enough to come out. Cliffy's too little, too late, and the Coogan campaign ran a great campaign for the candidate they had.
That's right.
They pulled a Joe Biden. They hit him. He didn't answer. His feet were not held to the fire. He never had to answer questions. He got away with half-an-hour debates, and Cliff hung himself with that, and they hung that when we predicted that. When he put out that memo, they were going to ride that thing like a broken horse
Yep.
till it died.
Yep.
And they ran the campaign that they needed to run, and they won.
And
So
here's the thing.
you have to say, well, congratulations.
And here's the thing. I think that memo is going to haunt him for the rest of his political career, if he has one.
Yeah.
I think that's going to haunt him. If he ever decides to run for mayor again, that memo is going to come back out. If he runs for city council, I don't think it's that important. But if
Yeah.
he runs again for city council, I think he'll be fine. Now, rumor has it that Linda is lobbying already to be president of the city council, which she's been in the past.
Surprise, surprise.
Surprise, surprise. But the surprise is she's lobbying for Trot Lee to be her vice president. And Pamela Liberté LeBeau has already said that she hasn't made her decision yet whether she wants to run for vice president.
I'm looking at the makeup, the voting makeup.
Who I would love to see run
3.
for president is either Sean Kadim or Joe Camara. I would love to see either one of them. They both have the experience necessary. They're not politically connected to the mayor. That will give us an independent leader in the city council.
Yeah.
And I think that's necessary. I think you have to have an independent leader in the city council.
Yeah.
I don't know what Joe Camara's allegiances are going to lie to, because historically they lie to him. But it's going to be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, I would like to see either Kadim, because it's nice to have that balance between the two, checks and balances.
Yes, exactly.
Not everybody marching in lockstep.
But it's going to be what it is. Now the next big question is going to be who's going to be the vice chair of the school committee. That's going to make for an interesting debate, and to see where that comes from. So, I mean, it wasn't an interesting election, people. It really wasn't that surprising. What was surprising was that you did not come out and vote.
Yeah.
You failed to vote. You get what you pay for. Don't complain.
You want
when you
change?
get taxed to hell, I don't want to hear it.
You got change, you come out like they did in Virginia and even in Jersey. In Jersey, the guy that they said didn't have a snowball's chance
Got it.
is ahead.
All right. Well, I want to thank you all for watching. This has been a great show. Please have a great day, and remember, stay safe, stay angry, and hold your politicians accountable. Thanks for watching.